This is the Unspoken Podcast on the Undetermined Podcast Network.
You are listening to the Unspoken Podcast, a cheap seat sports production, part of the Undetermined Podcast Network. It is episode number 26. I'm Tom Albano, along with Nick Vedera, and our special guest this week, once again, Nick Morrison. Hey, Nick F.
Yes.
I got something to tell you, by the way. Remember there was that pay-per-view we talked about a long time ago, that wrestling pay-per-view with the wacky name?
Yeah. Well, Balls of Fire.
Yes.
Well, guess what? It's this Sunday.
Oh, Christ.
Goodness gracious, great balls of fire. It is this Sunday. But that was just to get the cheap pop in, get the cheap plug in. And
Balls of steel or balls of lead would work. Because if you
Pretty
got
much.
balls of lead, you need to go see a doctor.
well, we got enough ball stuff to talk about today. We have Nick Morrison on because we have basketball. A lot of basketball stuff to talk about today. Free agency.
Yes, we do.
All right, so let's get to that first. We've got more to talk about, by the way. We still have All-Star Game and Home Run Derby stuff to mention for later today in the show. And we're going to have a game at the end. We're going to be playing Should It Be on TV?
Wow.
So anyways, let's get into the NBA free agency. Nick Morrison, do you want to start us off?
A lot of interesting moves. All the big names are off the docket at this point. I don't know if you guys talked about Gordon Hayward, but he signed a 4-year, $128 million deal officially. Actually, I shouldn't say officially, but signed or close to. I got to pick my words more carefully. Agreed to a deal. Agreed to a deal with the Boston Celtics.
Yeah.
And now they're pretty much in emergency cap seeking mode at this point because they already made one trade. I think that was DeMarcus Smart to the Pistons for cap space. That's essentially a cap space move. But that was the last big player to come off the big free agency, as I like to call the type A players. But a lot of small moves today. First of all, what did you guys think about the Gordon Hayward going to Boston?
Well, you know what it is? To me, it's kind of emblematic of this free agency period in that you're making these big splash, deals without having the slightest idea of how to pay for it until after the player's already signed and now you got to scramble to get cap room. It's almost like, you know what it is? It's like eating at a 4-star restaurant and then realizing halfway through dessert, oh, right, that's right, I live in a cardboard box.
I don't want to make this comparison, but it comes with the territory, I guess, because just paying for players and not giving a fuck. It reminds me like the Steinbrenner family, except the Steinbrenners, had money.
Yeah.
That's an interesting perspective to put on it, but I don't know. And I have to call this name out. I don't know if you saw a video, guys, that I put up through Periscope the other day, and this will be a good lesson to you guys and a ton of other people in the media industry. Major media hot take right now. When you go to post your source to say that Gordon Hayward is going to a certain team, you got to check your source before you put it up, because I went to check on the Gordon Hayward news, and all of a sudden this guy named Chris Sylvester on Twitter decided to say, oh, Gordon Hayward is officially coming back to the Utah Jazz, and he's going to reveal it via the Players Tribune the next day. And I finally said, and I tweeted him a few times, you can look. I said, who's your source? Who is your freaking source? Because he wouldn't say who it was. So I went off on him in major ways, more than one. And let's just say it got over 1,000 views.
Really? Wow. Good job.
So, and you know this well, Tom, from the journalistic point of view, and Nick too, that if when you tell a story and you are trying to confirm something, you have to make sure the source is real.
Right.
Well, yeah. That is the cardinal rule of what Hofstra's teaching us. I mean, if you're doing that, then you're not a journalist. You're just a gossiper.
Yeah, exactly. I think he's just putting more fire onto the hot stove. Like, it's not journalism. And even then, like, if you didn't want to reveal your source, this is just not that kind of, a free agency signing is not the kind of situation that calls for an anonymous source.
No, it doesn't.
I'm sorry.
I mean, you dump on Adrian Wojnarowski all you want, but the guy's been right. I mean, a fair amount of the time, especially in this period.
Well, I feel like Wojnarowski is just so good. He's gotten to the point where, he is the source.
He is the official top number one NBA source. Now, if you look at our Twitter accounts, we pretty much give him credit for a ton of the sources that we get. So
yeah,
that all you have to do is just say via whoever. That's all you got to do. It's not like you have to write a 5-sentence or a paragraph on what this guy does. You just have to give him credit.
Citing your sources. That's another thing that is sadly, I think, gone by the wayside in the Twitter age of breaking free agency news.
But so that big move happened. I'll run through some quick ones because these are not gigantic names. You heard about the Otto Porter situation, right?
Yeah, he was.
Okay, by the way, was that the undetermined account that you did it on, or was it your own account?
The undetermined account.
It was on the No, I want to try to find it now.
It might be back a few days. I did a Periscope video on it. You can find it from a few days ago.
What's the guy's name again?
Otto Porter.
Otto Porter. Thank you.
He was, I think he was a Washington Wizard. He got in trouble in the playoffs. He signed. This is the big problem I have with some of the free agency signings. You can sign an offer sheet, but because being a restricted free agent, you can match any offer that any other team puts out there. So the Nets threw out a 4-year, $106 million deal. And I don't know what's going on with that. I think they matched it. But what happened, another move happening into another move, Bojan Bogdanovic has officially been UFA'd basically into free agency because they needed the cap space, the Wizards. So Bojan Bogdanovic went on to sign a 2-year, $21 million deal with the Pacers after all of that movement happened. So, I don't know. Just a lot of craziness going on. What else happened? Oh, free agent Tyreke Evans has agreed to a 1-year, $3.3 million deal with the Grizzlies. These are just really tiny, clear-up NBA moves. Free agent forward Mike Muscala has agreed to a 2-year, $10 million deal with the Hawks. Now, guys, I don't know who would want to really play for the Hawks right now.
Not a lot of people.
Hawks would not want to play for the Hawks right now.
Well, keep this in mind. I would rather play for the Hawks than I would for the New York Knicks.
It's a good point. I mean, Atlanta's nice this time of year, right?
Absolutely.
But basically, and then Josh McRoberts got traded to the Mavericks. And then hold your breath when I try to say this name. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope.
My God, what a name.
Has become the top unrestricted free agent on the market right now because the Pistons were hard capped. That's the new term in the salary cap education for people who are trying to understand the NBA rules for money. So hard capped means you've hit the official number and you can't go over it anymore. So
right.
Now he's the big name that's out on the market. The Nets are in on him. The Lakers are in on him. Those are the two big teams that are in on Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. So that's pretty much all the news at this point. Oh, one more thing. Since we're talking about your beloved Knicks.
Oh
no.
What a backhanded statement that is.
I don't know if I would go with beloved.
Yeah. it's more of a love-hate relationship. It's more of a, you know what? It's more of a hate-sicken relationship.
That was complete sarcasm.
It's a. Oh, you didn't think I would forget about this, did you? The Unspoken Podcast now takes a trip to the circus. That is the New York Knicks.
But to get into what the Knicks did, I started to say there was a complicated deal that went down.
Yeah, we have Tim Hardaway Jr. back.
Right, so that's not the only complicated part of it.
Oh, no.
So Tim Hardaway Jr. signed an offer sheet for 4 years, $71 million. Somehow the Knicks swallowed their pride and basically gave him A, B-, B+ money. And
just let that number sink in for a bit. 71 million for a guy they had already.
Yes, basically.
It's the same deal, the same 4-year deal he had already, but the money has increased a lot, and he's an older player now.
Yes. And to make the cap space, because the Knicks didn't have the cap space, they traded for Jerian Grant, who was traded for Derrick Rose, who was renounced, so the Knicks could sign Hardaway Jr.
God damn, Knicks. You can't make anything easy, can you?
Nope. I understand, trying to untangle yourself from the miasma of the Phil Jackson era, and I understand how Herculean a task that is, but Jesus Christ, you're not getting off to a good start.
By the way, do you want to take a guess at what Derrick Rose's cap number was?
God, I don't know if I want to guess.
Nick?
You told me already what it was.
I made a mistake, actually.
I'm gonna take
actually higher.
I'm just gonna take a guess and go $100 million.
No. You're way over.
Okay.
23.
No, it's 29.7 million.
Really?
Oh, God.
So it was probably a good idea that they renounced his rights because now they get that cap space. So, but they basically gave it to Tim Hardaway Jr. at this point. So,
yeah, that's exactly. Here, I'll take that 1986 Nissan Sentra. How much you want? I'll give you $1 million.
Oh my goodness! But yeah, that's basically where we are with free agency. I thought you guys would be amazed at the Tim Hardaway deal.
I am amazed, just not in a good way.
And one more piece of NBA news, not NBA free agency, but more of NBA entertainment news. And this is I told Nick, I didn't tell him what the story was before we came on here, but I said it's going to make your balls twist off, basically.
Oh!
So,
why would you say that phrase?
Because that's what you'll see why in a second when I tell you the story. So, Facebook has confirmed this news. They are officially going to be doing a Keeping Up with the Balls reality show on Facebook. The LeVar Ball family is getting their own show.
I actually heard some inklings about it. I reported on this like a few months ago, actually.
Well, it's now, get ready, guys. The nightmare has officially been confirmed.
That kid, when he steps foot on an NBA court, is going to get roasted like a chicken. Like a chicken. And you know what? It's funny, yet horrifying. Almost like a clown with a stick of dynamite shoved up his ass.
That's pretty good. But yeah, they're getting their own show, and they're going to be the next version of the Kardashian family, which is imploding as we speak.
Of course. I cannot. This is why part of me wants this kid to fail. Because
Me too.
No, I wouldn't wish failure on anybody.
That's the problem, Nick. No, Nick, that is exactly my problem. I don't want to wish failure on anybody. But on the other hand, I'm getting so sick of his dad that I just, like, if the kid failed just to get the dad out of the picture, it's like, ugh.
You know that's not going to happen. He's like every other father. Like when we were younger and we all did Little League and like our father, come on, hit the ball, run, catch the ball. I'm like, oh my God. Like, geez.
But I think there's a difference. Now this is becoming a little too much. He's becoming the hype man. He's like not letting the son have his moment in the light.
Or even let him take his lumps a little bit.
Right.
The problem is he hasn't taken the basketball court, like Nick said.
All right. He's taking the summer court, I think, but not the actual. And there's a difference between college, NBA Summer League, and NBA.
Oh yeah, there's not even a doubt. That's a complete. They're two completely different animals.
But once they start firing live ammo, so to speak, it is going to be that kid is either going to sink like a stone, or he could fly like an angel. I don't know.
Oh, but all right, guys, did you hear about the segment on WWE Raw that LeVar Ball and the Ball family were a part of?
Yeah, and LaMelo decided to drop the N-word.
Yep, live on TV.
What a dick!
If there's one way to like let the censor explode, use the N-word.
No, they didn't hear it in time, so they couldn't censor it.
But that's WWE as a whole, though. I feel like as much as they had to censor, I guarantee you they didn't want to censor it.
I don't know, because I've actually heard reports that WWE, essentially like a lot of WWE officials, hated the segment. They seriously hate it.
Are you kidding me? They don't hate it. It's getting them publicity and fans. They don't hate it.
Man, at least that man never met an ass he didn't want to put in a seat.
Maybe, but I've heard WWE talent hated it.
Oh, stop. Because that's so bullshit. Because if they hated it, first of all, they wouldn't be lining their pockets with money. So when the Ball family comes on, that's making them money.
No, I think it's a difference. I think they got the publicity they wanted, but the segment didn't go,
It went kind of sideways.
Right. And it doesn't help that LaMelo decided to drop the N-word. First of all, let me also ask this. WWE is a family-friendly program, and the N-word is a bad word, so why the fuck do you say it?
First of all, I don't know if I would consider WWE a full family-friendly program. That's just my opinion, because I think there's violence and stuff that goes on. Not premeditated violence, but there's things that go on in the ring where they smash each other's heads. So I wouldn't call that 100% family friendly.
And there's a fair amount of scantily clad women. I mean,
yeah, exactly.
It's downright misogynistic.
WWE in a while.
I don't know, but the way I see WWE, it's, as we all know, it's made up, it's scripted, and that's why I don't like it, because I don't like things that are scripted as much.
But what? What?
It's scripted.
I know it's scripted, but everything else on TV is scripted.
Not other sports.
Not other sports, but WWE.
Wait a minute. I'm not comparing to everything on TV. I'm comparing to other sports.
As a sport, maybe, but this is the thing. Vince McMahon does not see WWE as a sport, and you can't exactly view it as a sport.
I don't like him either, by the way.
You don't like what?
I don't like McMahon at all.
Get in line.
But
basically what I was trying to go at is they have essentially changed their product over the years. The women are not as scantily clothed now. They're actually competitors, and they take it really freaking seriously. The days of the bikini contests and whatnot are gone.
Damn.
There's no headshots anymore, so they're not hitting each other over the head with chairs. They're hitting, like, you can't do it to the head because of the concussion issues. It's now like back shots and stuff like that.
No, that's no fun.
Which is, no less dangerous. But still, it's so instead of brain damaging the guy, you're imperiling his ability to ever walk again.
Right.
Hooray!
But one thing I got to say, though, no one wants to see a LeVar Ball without his shirt on, with his shirt off.
Oh, nobody did. Nobody did. That was just. Let's just put, as I said in the little post I put on there on the Cheap Seats Sports Site blog. Let's just consider this from WWE's perspective, from the fans' perspective, and from the sports perspective, and everybody's perspective in general. Let's make this a segment to forget and never mention again.
Well, I have an interesting point to bring up. So you brought up Vince McMahon, and both Nick and I said that we don't like him. So I always ask this question to everybody in the sports crazy fandom world. If you had to rank the commissioners in the 4 major sports, and we'll throw WWE in there as the 5th one as we're talking about it, how would you rank the commissioners in the sport?
Oh, okay.
In terms of awfulness, or in terms of whether they're actually doing their job?
In terms of doing good for the league.
So best for worst.
Right.
I would probably have to go with Rob Manfred as number 1.
Interesting.
I've never really heard much, bad stuff about commissioners coming from the MLB. It's always from NHL. It's always from Goodell. It's always from what was his name before Adam Silver came in? What was his name?
David Stern.
David Stern. Yeah, I always heard a lot of bad shit about him. You never really hear any bad shit about Selig or Manfred.
Although Selig's got his fair share of skeletons in his closet, need I mention McGuire and Sosa, or the entire steroid era?
That's fair enough, but at least Manfred's in charge now. Selig, he's in the picture, but he's not prominent.
In terms of presiding over growth, which is how we rate a successful commissioner, I would probably say that as much as it makes me sick to say this, Goodell would probably be up at the top, because despite
I can't agree with you.
I can't agree.
Despite his personal conduct and his professional, his behavior, which has been utterly fucking deplorable, the NFL's made a shit ton of money, and it has made exponentially more and more money since he's been commissioner. It's horrible, awful. And
you know how much he makes?
How much?
He makes $40 million as the commissioner of the NFL.
God, I'd want his salary.
That's paid by all the teams, all the team owners. So
I would have to give up my soul to be his job, to do his job, though.
But go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. I was gonna say, so if I'm gonna continue on my list, you want Nick F. You want to talk about like growth of the league and everything. So for that reason, and because I can't really put Goodell up as number 1, and for like his troubles, because I'm one of those people who want Goodell to like get out of there. For that reason of growth of the league and stuff, I'm actually going to put Adam Silver as number 2.
You could definitely do that.
I think the NBA, because as much as the NFL is growing to other places, it's not necessarily taking off. Maybe it's just taking off in England despite years of trying. NBA, meanwhile, I think is growing, exponentially. They're going out to China. They're going to
Europe. That got canceled.
Wait, what happened? The China
It
stuff?
officially got canceled a week ago.
Aw.
Ouch.
Yeah. Now I'm kind of tempted to change my mind and actually put Goodell up as number 2, because you're right, the international expansion.
Right. But I'll give you a few, and you can tell me what you think.
Okay.
I'm trying not to be unfair because I don't like certain commissioners, but oh man, I think I'm with you, Tom. I would probably put Manfred at the top, because now we have to remember something. He's relatively new as the MLB commissioner, so we still have to figure out the PED issues. That's a problem.
Yeah, but that preceded him. So.
Right.
No, but they still have to figure those issues out.
Right, but I don't think you can penalize Manfred for an issue that he inherited.
Yes, no, I'm not. I'm just saying.
I would not do so.
No, I'm saying just what needs to be figured out. They're about to have a major issue, ratings, because if you saw the news the other day, Dan Schulman's stepping down from Sunday Night Baseball. So now there's going to be major hole they have to fill. And are the ratings going to stay up for Major League Baseball? And that's going to fall under the commission or making sure they get the right thing.
But I think that could also be on the con side of Goodell, because we talked about how much did we talk about in our sports class with our first semester about the NFL rating issues.
Yeah, I'm with that was a major bit with Mazzocco
And now, as you guys, I'm not sure if you guys know, this was announced a little while back though. Twitter has cut their Thursday Night Football feed. They're actually going to replace it. Supposedly, one of the rumored things they were going to replace it with was UFC events.
Well, wait a minute. They had to cut it because Amazon paid for the rights for Thursday Night Football.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. That's right. But now Twitter's going to carry, I believe, some UFC events. And it's like, would you want to go to Amazon for NFL or Twitter for UFC? I'm tempted to go with Twitter because, it's the easiest site. I would rather go to Twitter and social media, something that I'm on all the time.
Well,
yeah.
Right.
And to be entirely, I'm not defending Roger Goodell nor his. I'm just in awe that he has made these boneheaded decisions, yet somehow has been able to just come out smelling like a white mushroom.
I mean,
good.
Yeah.
I don't get it.
But
all right, so I have my order basically after all this talking. I think I have my order. Okay, going from best to worst. Number one, I'm gonna go Manfred. I'm actually gonna stick with Silver as number two because he's also fairly new, not as new, but he's still fairly new, and he made some impacts when he first came on, like when he banned, Donald Sterling. Number three, I will go with Goodell though because despite controversies and boneheaded decisions, he is, absolutely successful, and for that reason, number four, I'm gonna go with Vince, and then number five. Fucking
Gary Bettman.
Yeah, Gary Bettman. I think he deserves number 5.
I think, Tom, you and I are on the same page. I'd put Manfred at the top. I think baseball's going to be an improving sport. The only problem with the fans and ticket issues is that it's impossible for a family of four to afford to go to a baseball game. Now, you could say that for any sport, but the tickets are ridiculous. They're just figuring out the scalping issues. I went to Atlanta 3 or 4 weeks ago to check out the new Braves Stadium.
Right.
And now...
in Cobb County, right?
Yes. And now for StubHub, you can no longer print out tickets. You have to do it through the StubHub app on your phone.
I actually had to do that a couple of weeks ago when I went to the Yankees game.
Yeah, they're doing that now, so there's no more fakes that come through the gate. But I would put MLB at the top with Manfred. Then I would go with Silver, because I think the NBA is another improving sport. ESPN pretty much owns the exclusivity for the most part in the media rights. And now they got the best guy in the NBA and Adrian Wojnarowski covering their news. But I think Silver is a no bullshit guy. He will say, if you do something wrong, I'm taking you down and I'll take your money from you too. So go ahead.
You've changed my mind, Nick.
Have I?
So who are you putting as number 1 then, Nick?
I would have that. I would in a certain. You know what? Let's put personal success aside for a bit. Integrity has to come into it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And that's why I put Goodell and McMahon as 3-4.
Yeah, you could say, and it was wrong of me to put personal success and growth above integrity. Because if you don't have integrity, you're not a fucking good person.
That's true.
Right?
I mean, we hear Goodell get booed all the time at the NFL draft.
Yeah, so you're right. Adam Silver probably is the best commissioner in professional sports, along with Manfred is a close number 2.
I was gonna say, I guess you put Silver first. So then, who would you put 3? Would you put Goodell there then?
No, I would put him at 4.
So you put McMahon at 3, or would you put him at 5?
I don't consider wrestling a sport. I consider it an entertainment product, much like McMahon does.
I happen to agree with him.
I mean, I would agree with that, but I feel like Bettman has done more. He's done so much damage to his sport that I feel like he has to rank lower than McMahon. I mean, at the very least, the WWE has now grown so much, not not talking about the days under Vince, but now with Triple H starting to come into, the exec role. Like now they had the Cruiserweight tournament. They had a tournament for, British stars, and now they're having British specials on the network occasionally. Now they're gonna have a women's tournament this month.
Oh, I just remembered something, by the way, and don't ask me why it made me think of this. But
Okay.
Did you see the women's match where the woman literally got the crap beat out of her?
Yes, unfortunately, I did.
Like quite
What?
literally. Like
Oh, are you talking about the UFC?
yes.
Yeah, you're a UFC fighter that messed himself in front, on national TV.
I literally
Hey,
laughed so hard. I was crying almost laughing.
you're talking about the Police Herrick fight.
Yes.
Okay, well, shit happens.
And it happens all over the mat. Honestly, speaking from personal experience, and that is actually things like that have actually happened to me, I would be getting PTSD if that was me in that ring. Oh my God! How will that poor woman, ever be able to live that down?
She won't.
How will you? First of all, the woman who is dealing with that issue. First of all, I would have ran out of that cage and been in a shower for 3 hours.
And you still can't get clean after that.
Right.
Right. Just saying.
Oh my God! I don't even want to. I don't even want to think about it. Ugh! My God!
Sorry, but it just reminded me of that.
I know. Poor Justine Kish. But yeah,
Oh.
I was gonna say, I feel like Bettman has done so much to hurt his league so much that it's becoming. It's weird because the NHL has grown, but it's at the point where it's like, for every one step forward, there's a step back.
You mean restricting the players from going to the Olympics?
Exactly. That's
Yep.
one.
Putting a hockey team in Vegas, although nobody in Vegas gives a shit about hockey.
Yes,
That's
yes,
true.
because the Golden Knights is such a great name. It's an unbelievably amazing name. Let's go, Golden Knights!
Number three, I would have to say is at the beginning of his tenure when he moved all of the Canadian teams.
That was bad.
Yeah, and and one of them, it's like he moved one team to Atlanta, and it got so bad that it's like the team that he moved from Winnipeg to Phoenix, he moved the Atlanta team back to Winnipeg. It's like the Atlanta franchise sucked so much that he gave a team, a team back. And speaking of Phoenix, that fucking franchise, I don't know what the fuck it's doing. It's been bankrupt so much. I can't believe it still exists.
First of all, I need to ask a question. You're more hockey nerds than I am.
Okay.
So why are we putting hockey teams in Phoenix, in Florida? Why are we putting teams there?
I don't know.
Because Bettman is a fucking moron.
Because when I'm in Florida, I'm going to want to sit indoors and watch a hockey game. That's real bright.
Oh yeah. Well, you know what? You are infinitely smarter than Gary Bettman.
Everyone's
Congratulations.
infinitely smarter than Gary
The
Bettman.
Las Vegas move, it's like I'm on it only because let's face
It's
it.
gambling. It's gambling.
Right. And let's face it, because it's gambling, it's becoming a hotbed attraction site for teams.
The NFL's going to be there soon.
Right.
At least until the Raiders come to town, and then
And didn't
just
It wasn't-
kiss the Raiders goodbye.
right, but it wasn't an MLB team. Wasn't there like a AAA team there? It wasn't like the
The
51s.
Mets
Yeah,
team.
yeah.
The Mets AAA team.
Was Vegas? Yeah,
It
was
still
Vegas.
Is it still Vegas or did they move to Reno?
I can look that up while you're talking.
Well, yeah, but basically my point is like Las Vegas, I guess I can have somewhat of an understanding only because it is becoming a hotbed for teams because as you said, the sports gambling issue.
Yeah,
It's in Vegas still.
Point.
It's in Vegas.
But, right. Oh, it is still in Vegas. Okay. But basically my point is there you go. But also, let's face and the NBA Summer League, Las Vegas.
The
UFC
Gatorade League. Get it right.
Gator, I forgot.
Come on, man.
Leave him alone, Nick. He's learning. Leave him alone.
God damn it.
The UFC has been in Las Vegas for a long, long time. Of course, now they're going to have like a yearly show, I guess, in Madison Square Garden because they just confirmed another Garden show for November. But basically, Las Vegas has become is a hotbed for sports. Meanwhile, you're right. I don't get why the NHL has put teams in, Arizona and Florida. It's like sometimes those teams are good. Like Tampa Bay Lightning went to the Stanley Cup a couple of years ago. John Tortorella led them to Stanley Cup in 2004. And Arizona is really trying, as you can tell by the moves they've made this offseason. They're really trying to get to, better progress. But, it's like for what you've tried, it's like, Bettman has always put a step backwards.
There is one Trump move, if you pardon the expression, that would make Rob Manfred vault into number one in terms of commissioners.
And
What is that?
And that would be bringing the Expos back.
It's not happening. It's definitely not happening.
I know it's not happening, but a guy can dream.
I heard. Wait a minute. I heard rumors about that forever. That they want to put them in Puerto Rico. That's one rumor I heard. And
well, they tried that in 2003, 2004.
yeah, and it failed miserably. They had 5,000, an average of 5,000 a game.
Right.
So I don't think they're coming back. Right now, they have an even amount of teams, so there's no room for an expansion team. They would have to bring in 2 teams if they're going to do it.
Which I think which leads me to believe I feel like there's going to be another NHL expansion team coming. They just can't put one in Vegas because now 3 of the divisions have 8 teams, 1 has 7. That's leading me to believe there's going to be another team.
You think
Watch it be on the surface of the sun.
Wow.
I wouldn't expect anything less.
Nope.
Yeah. You can call
You're listening to-
spots.
You're listening to the Unspoken Podcast, a Cheap Seat Sports production, part of the Undetermined Podcast Network. Okay, we've been going off on that little tangent a little bit. Let's get to All-Star Weekend coming up.
Oh,
yes,
goody.
indeedy.
Yes, indeed, even though DD isn't going to be in the All-Star game.
Yeah, that's a shame, though. But everything over the past couple of weeks has gone wrong for the Yankees, so why would that one thing go right?
Well, wait a minute. If you want me to answer that question, I can tell you that that's going to lead into another topic we're going to talk about, and it's about ratings of teams and why certain players should keep their fucking mouths shut because they weren't picked to be invited to the Home Run Derby.
Ah, yes, our old friend Logan Morrison.
And
For those of you who do not know, context is necessary.
yes,
See, Gary Sanchez, the Yankees' starting catcher, has 13 home runs?
14.
14 home runs since he came off the disabled list in the beginning of May. And he missed a month due to an oblique injury. So he was picked for the Home Run Derby along with Aaron Judge. And Logan Morrison, he of the Tampa Bay Rays, he's more than a little bit salty that
More salty. I think he's on fire. I think a volcano erupted.
yeah, and he's basically stamping his feet saying this is unfair. Why wasn't I picked? I had 13 home runs a month ago and I get 25 now. I didn't get a chance to go. So
Hey, Tom, if you could cue the crying baby sound effect, that would have been good right there.
We need a freaking sound effects machine.
damn, we need a soundboard.
But just to
I'm gonna have a soundboard starting next week. I'm gonna look. At least I'm gonna try, because I feel like we need stuff for like the circus music for freaking everything. Let's go. Ash, let's go with man crying, because I think that fits.
But to make a long story short, the Logan Morrison is. What are you doing over there?
No, it's a sound effect.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Wow.
That is the sound effect. It was like so realistic.
Wow. But to make a long story short, Logan Morrison has 24 home runs this season right before the All-Star break, and he got annoyed, as Nick said, because Gary Sanchez has 14, and Logan Morrison, trying to be Mr. Big Shot, Mr. Big Man, tried to say, I had 14 home runs last month. What makes him so special? Well, here's the news flash that teams don't want to understand. The Tampa Bay Rays, do you think they bring ratings?
No.
No.
Do you think the name Logan Morrison is going to bring ratings?
This is what I always say about Logan Morrison. He's good for stuff like power. He's a good for, your fantasy team if you want power. But the name, he's not a name. He's just Logan Morrison. It's like, if you didn't know who Logan Morrison was in the MLB, I wouldn't blame you on name alone. It's like,
all right, so now I'm going to flip the script, okay? Everyone knows who the Yankees are, right?
Right.
Everyone knows Gary Sanchez, right?
I'm sure of it.
Yeah, I sure as hell do.
Okay. And the Yankees, last time I checked, are in New York, right?
Right.
Okay. So New York, number one market, number one in everything. Florida, the only thing they're number one for is not having property tax.
And they have Disney and Universal.
All right, fine. We can throw those in there. But here's the deal. He's right.
Playing in the All-Star game? No. So therefore, you can't.
So here's the honest truth, okay?
Okay.
Logan Morrison is right in the sense of he's got 24 home runs and Gary Sanchez has 13. He's right. He's absolutely 100% right.
Mm-hmm.
But no one gives a shit about the Tampa Bay Rays. No one. No one. Everyone wants the Yankees. If Aaron Judge, who has 29 home runs right now, if Gary Sanchez, who has 14, and probably should have more if he wasn't on the disabled list, he'd probably have close to 20 by now. So they're looking for the ratings. When's the last time two Yankees competed together in the home run derby? I can't think of it.
I don't think it's ever happened.
So
No, it is actually Swisher was in the home run derby, I think, in 2010.
was that with Cano though, or no?
Along with Cano.
Really?
Oh, so maybe it did happen. I don't know, but
I think you're gonna have to double check on that.
I am double checking right now.
okay. But as he's looking that up, newsflash: no one gives a shit about the Rays. Okay.
Yeah. That fact is immutable. Even the people in the Tampa Bay area do not give a fuck about the Rays. If they did, then they would bother showing up at Tropicana Fields to see them play.
Also, Nick Cano did not compete in the 2010 Derby.
Oh, so you're right. That's never happened.
First.
So it's all about the ratings. They want the two guys there. You knew Aaron Judge was going to be there. He leads the league in home runs. So look at the guys who are competing.
Wait, does he lead the league? I thought Stanton had like one more than him.
No.
He leads the league by 3 or 4, I think.
Okay, then here's a question. Why is Stanton number 1 in the seeding?
Because he won the Derby last year.
Yeah,
That's right. Right.
Whoever wins the Derby is the 1 seed.
I forgot the defending champion. That's the 1 seed.
So look at the guys who are competing: Stanton, Judge, Bellinger, Justin Bohr, Miguel Sano. Sano, who guys who have 20+ home runs. Now,
Right.
Logan Morrison's an outreach, obviously, because he had 24 home runs. But you know what? Keep your fucking mouth shut. You don't have the right to speak up. Sorry. It's an invite-only competition. It's not a vote. It's an invite.
Right. I feel like as much as I understand his complaints, it's like what Gary Sanchez responded with. Like, it's not Gary Sanchez's fault that what's his name? Morrison didn't get an invite.
And
and Gary's handled it very well. I mean, he's been very diplomatic in his answer, whereas he could have taken the sit the fuck down and shut the fuck up approach.
Right. And it's
Right.
honestly
Unbecoming. But it's going. Logan Morrison is mistaken that he thinks that the home run derby is about integrity.
since when?
Since fucking when?
I was gonna say the home run derby is a fun event. The All-Star game and All-Star weekend MLB is all about fun. It's probably the most fun All-Star, All-Star weekend, All-Star week thing that out of all the leagues.
I mean, if you go back to, I don't remember what year it was, but Josh Hamilton and the 30-plus home
2008.
runs. What?
That was 2008.
2008, the All-Star game in Yankee Stadium.
That was the last one before the stadium was knocked down. So
Yeah.
that was all about when
Right.
Josh Hamilton was an up-and-coming star at that point. And then he goes into the old Yankee Stadium and hits 28 home runs, I think, in total, and destroys it. It's all about stars.
Right, and it's all about it's all about the fun. There's always a sense of fun at that All-Star game and the home run derby. It's like, everyone's just happy to be there. They're happy to not have to worry about the standings for a few days.
And this is probably the first time since 08, I can't really say 08 because nobody was expecting that, where you've got a fair amount of anticipation heading into this home run derby because you've got Judge versus Stanton. And a lot of baseballs are going to be murdered to prove that point.
Right. And
That's
I mean,
true, yeah.
and I mean, to be fair to, I have faith in both my Yankees in this home run derby, but let's face it, Gary Sanchez, and if Logan Morrison replaced Sanchez, then he would be in Sanchez's place as number 8, probably.
Probably, yeah.
They drew Stanton in the first round, and I don't think either one of them can beat Giancarlo Stanton.
No, I would agree with that, actually. But here's the deal. Here's the problem. We could talk about all All-Star games. We could spend a whole hour on that. But my point is, no one gives a crap about the All-Star game. It's about the Derby, or it's about the dunk competition. It's about the NFL doesn't really have one. They have it at the end of the season.
It's all about the side contests.
Right. So that's all they care about. The home run derby is why I watch. I don't watch the All-Star game anymore. Who cares?
Yeah, especially since they took away World Series home field advantage this year, so you've got even less of a reason for this game to matter.
Yeah,
Although,
but no one tries anyway, though.
Yeah, but it shouldn't have mattered in the first place anyway. It should have been all about, hey, let's get all these guys together on the same field and see what happens.
Right. Well, the only reason the All-Star game shit was implemented was because of the disastrous 2002 game where it ended in a tie and the fans went nuts and threw shit on the field.
Well, that's just stupid. The All-Star game is there as a neutral site game. It shouldn't matter.
Right.
I don't get it. But the whole thing, to put a bow on this.
So thanks, Milwaukee fans, by the way.
What?
That's another thing we got to thank you for.
I was going to say thanks, Milwaukee fans.
But to put a bow on this, Logan Morrison is an asshole. He obviously is embarrassed because he plays for one of the worst teams in Major League Baseball. And as Nick said, they don't draw any fans. They're playing in a Florida stadium indoors. Go figure. And you know what?
I've heard it's a crappy stadium.
I want to go just because I want to see the stadium. But you know what? Just accept your role. You're a Ray. If you were a Yankee and you hit those 24 home runs, you probably would be in the home run derby.
Or if you're a Met and you hit those, or if you're playing for the Dodgers or the Angels.
Well, the Mets are another abomination, but that's a whole story for another day.
Yeah. We could spend all day talking about that.
But let's talk about the All-Star game participants themselves. You two, was there anybody you thought, should have been in but didn't get in, or there was somebody who did get in that you don't think deserves it? Because here's what I'm going to say. Like, the AL final vote, as much as I'm sad Didi didn't get in, the AL final vote, that was some lineup for a final vote.
Moustakas, I think, deservedly got in.
Right, but I mean, that's the thing. Like, you had Bogarts, you had Moustakas, you had Didi. It's like, wow.
I think Didi got gypped a little bit. And that's not me being a Yankee fan. He's actually had a good first half.
He did.
Yes.
He has had a good first half. But I'm just saying, like, do you guys think this is why I think the baseball ratings will hopefully go up? Because it's like, look at the level of, it's like I said before the season, look at the level of talent we have in baseball now. It's like, holy crap.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
I mean, when I looked at the field to see how the All-Star rosters were playing out, I look at all the positions and I say, all right, Justin Smoke at first base, not too happy about that, but there's really not any other choices at first base for the American League.
What about Eric Hosmer?
He's a downgrade. He's going to probably be traded at the trade deadline because they're going nowhere.
Right, but still, he's hitting 300 for the year.
But he's not hitting for any power.
But he's still a pure hitter.
You still have a lot of power in that lineup, though, so you can offset that.
Right.
I mean, I guess you could. But all right, then second base. we all knew this was the inevitable. Jose Altuve was going to be the starter at second base.
Mhm.
He's probably going to be your MVP in the next couple of years.
Yeah, very good chance.
Shortstop. We all knew that was going to happen. Carlos Correa is probably the best shortstop in the majors, period.
Although I think Xander Bogaerts put up a good case.
Right, but yeah, I think we all knew that was going to happen. Third base, Jose Ramirez. No one really knows who the Cleveland Indian players are at this point, so I can't.
Right, but still, when you judge by stats alone and you compare it to everybody else at third base, it wasn't a surprise to me.
No, that wasn't a surprise. Salvador Perez, he's been your consistent catcher from defense and offense, so that one is not a surprise to me.
Yeah.
You knew he was
Right, I feel like Gary could have Gary could have
put up a fight.
Yeah, but at the very least, he did get a reserve spot. So that it was
he'll be in the game, but I don't think he had the experience under his belt that Salvi has,
which is fair enough. I mean, if Gary,
this game.
which is fair enough. If Gary did win the position, Salvi would have been, a reserve. It was one of those just okay, who's going to start and who's going to reserve matters.
Yeah,
Right. That could have gone 50-50 either way.
Right. Exactly.
Starting for the American League, I would probably say my money would be on Chris Sale.
Yeah,
that's
a good bet. That's a safe bet.
Outfield, well, we did have Mike Trout voted in, but of course he's on the disabled list, so
they put Mookie Betts.
Right, which I agree. Mookie, I think, really deserved it this season.
You have Judge.
Of course, you have to have Judge.
And then
he'll be starting. Definitely.
And George Springer.
And then you have Springer, who is kind of your up and down type of outfielder. Now you have the designated hitter rule implemented in both leagues, in both parks now. So,
right, but you can still only vote for the AL one, I believe.
Really?
Yeah, you could only vote for the American League one.
Then why would Major League Baseball make the designated hitter rule if you can only vote for it in the American League?
Probably because the regular season, But basically, Nelson Cruz won that, correct?
Yes.
No. It was Corey Dickerson.
What?
Corey Dickerson?
What it says here.
Hold on a minute.
God.
Wait, we gotta double check this because.
Oh wait, hold on. I don't think those might not even be right. Hold on. Good job, research.
You had one job.
Not my podcast.
Yeah. Well, that kind of falls on us.
Hey, Nick.
Yeah.
Well,
Nick Morganson. Now, not Nick Morganson.
You are fake news.
Oh, thanks. I'm gonna build the wall. I'm gonna enjoy the wall. It's gonna be huge.
Fuck, I get sick to my stomach every time I hear that bloated shit sack talk.
Okay. In that case, Nick Federa, you might want to mute your mic because also to that guy that Nick was debating with, the guy who wouldn't reveal his source, also.
You are fake news.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
As much as Nick F, as much as you hate him, I feel like that has to be on our soundboard now.
Yeah, you're right.
Crap. As my computer just makes random noises. Go ahead.
Anyways, I think Nelson Cruz won the All-Star game. Let me double check. I'm checking that right now. God.
As we keep looking
Nelson
here.
Cruz, only Mariners player selected.
Oh, then maybe he did get it.
Let me see. He has been selected, but he was a reserve. You're right. Corey Dickerson did win.
Yes.
Oh, I guess I am fake news then.
You're fake news. You know what?
Fake news.
You know what? CNN and MSNBC, you're fake news.
Okay, I will fake news myself.
You are fake news.
Exactly.
Okay. All right, but the one at least. What do you guys think about this rule, by the way? Even though the All-Star game doesn't matter, there has to be one representative per each team. Do you
I think it's bullshit.
I agree. I feel like if your team didn't have anybody all-star worthy, it shouldn't matter.
You mean like the Chicago Cubs?
Oh,
Right.
shots fired.
Who somehow, well, they had one representative, and now he got injured and he can't play in the game.
Beautiful. So the Cubs might become the first team, and I don't know how long to not have a representative.
So
I
they're going from champs to chumps in less than a full season.
Yeah.
Practically.
God.
What'd you expect?
Yeah, but I didn't expect them to be like the Dallas Mavericks that quick.
But you have to remember something. In all sports, once you win a championship, you're feeling the pressures, you're playing really hard, you're at an emotional high, and once you win, your guard goes down.
That's I guess. Oh, by the way, the National League All-Stars, I got every single one of them except the first baseman.
Well, read them down, and I'll tell you if I agree.
Okay, first baseman, Ryan Zimmerman won it.
He's not really a first baseman by trade, but okay.
Well, now he is.
Shouldn't be.
He
Whatever.
is now. But anyways, I said as much as I could agree with that because he's having a hell of a year. Paul Goldschmidt is always consistently great.
You know what? I need to talk about him for a second. I feel like he keeps getting jumped over. Seriously.
He does.
I know. Paul Goldschmidt's probably the most underrated player, which is sad considering he's a 315, 320 hitter.
It's
Yeah, I don't-
because he plays for the Diamondbacks.
Yeah,
Well, the
usually,
Diamondbacks are having a hell of a year this year.
but wait a minute.
Exactly.
Hold up. That I wouldn't call 315, 320 underrated, first of all.
Right.
Second of all, Arizona is a tough park to hit in.
That is true, but I'm saying at the very least, that now Arizona, they used to be crappy, but now suddenly this year, oh my God, Owings, Goldschmidt, Peralta, they're all putting on a hell of a show.
It's not going to go anywhere, though.
They're going to go to the playoffs. They're going to be a wild card team.
Well,
I think.
unfortunately, because they had to add the second wild card because they needed more money in baseball, they'll get a wild card spot.
I think both wild cards in the NL are going to come from the NL West now. It's going to be Arizona and Colorado.
I guess, but go on.
Okay, second base, Daniel Murphy. I don't think that's a contest.
No.
No, that's not even close. He should. What was he, a batting champion last year, or close to being a batting champion last year?
Yeah. Well, this year he's just smacking them out of the park. This year.
Well, that's basically just telling the old Sandy Alderson and the Wilpons to go fuck themselves.
Right.
Yeah, basically.
Thank you for releasing me. Basically, third base. Here's my issue with third base. Everyone said for the National League that third base was the closest race. It was between Nolan Arenado and Chris Bryant. That I have so much disagreement with. If Nolan Arenado is having such a year that Chris Bryant is basically crap when you.
No, he is, and he got hurt, so he's not playing anyway.
So
Right,
now
and-
Nolan
and he
Arenado will
lost
be
the
your
final
starter
vote.
anyway.
And Chris Bryant lost the final vote. There's no contest here. Nolan Arenado should have been. It's pretty clear Nolan Arenado should be the third baseman.
Wait a minute. You could put him up there as an MVP candidate.
Correct.
Seriously.
Now, here's where I think the closest vote should have been. National League shortstop. As I said before, you had Chris Owings of the Diamondbacks. You had Corey Seager of the Dodgers. But I think they got it right with Zach Cozart. He, as of last week, he was hitting 320, 33 RBIs, 966 OPS. I mean, even though he's on the Reds, I think Cozart has had a year where he's earned it.
See, here's the problem with any all-star voting. It's, how they say you're supposed to vote for the best players in
It's a popularity
the league.
contest. I know.
It's a popularity contest. There's politics involved, as you can vote up to 30 times from the same email account.
I think you can only vote 5 times every 24 hours now, though.
Oh, is it? But you can vote up to 30 times. So it's really not not a popularity contest. It's not a normal contest. It's a popularity contest.
Right.
It's about as democratic as an election in Chile in the 70s.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. And for outfielder, for outfield, it was Blackman, Harper, and Ozuna. I think Blackman and Harper were no contest.
Right.
Ozuna, there was a debate about, because the other guy who was closest was Giancarlo Stanton. And I said this to Nick last week, and we agreed to disagree. I think Ozuna should have got it, and did get it. ultimately, because I feel like, what about Giancarlo Stanton? But when you look at the numbers, Ozuna is producing the same numbers from like home runs and RBIs that Stanton has this year. Ozuna, though, has a higher batting average.
Yeah, Ozuna did get in, though. Did he?
Right.
He did.
Yes, he did. I'm saying Ozuna should be. And, Stanton, he should have the reserve this year. I mean, at the very least, Stanton has the home run derby.
Wait a minute. Stanton had 23 home runs and 54 RBIs, and he didn't and he's not starting?
Listen to me, okay? We're going to go through the numbers.
Who's the other player that we're comparing to?
Marcell Ozuna. He's another Miami outfielder. As I said, he's producing the same numbers.
I'm looking. Hold on. 23 home runs, 67 RBIs, and batting .319. All right. So, you know what? When I look at All-Star game, I don't look at the average, okay? It doesn't matter to me.
Really?
No, it doesn't. 'Cause I could give two shits what you're batting. I care about the home runs and the RBIs and how you're producing. So I could give. So throw the wait a minute. Throw the averages out the window for a second. Technically, they're at the same amount for the most part, except Ozuna has about 11 or 12 more RBIs.
So what are you saying? Are you saying Stanton should have gotten in?
Yes.
Now you're being hypocritical.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you said it's a popularity contest.
No,
it shouldn't be a popularity contest.
I know it's a popularity contest, but I'm saying people want to see Stanton. Also,
reserve. He's still going to get in the game.
At this point, I mean, it's just arguing over semantics because because they're both in the game. So therefore, what's the problem?
I mean, it's all about starting. It's a reputational thing, I guess.
Where I have to disagree with you. I think pure hitting does play a factor. I think so because.
Wait a minute. Let me ask you a question, okay? So when you went to stuff the ballot box, as they used to call it 30 years ago, when you made your decision, did you say, "Oh my God, he's hitting .319 and he's hitting .270. I'm picking the guy that's batting .319"?
I look at the overall picture.
You're skipping my question. Answer the question I'm asking you. Did you look at the average directly and say,
yes.
Are you serious?
Yes. I look at the overall picture. I look at their home runs, RBIs, and average. Because I feel like it's a year-to-year thing, the All-Star game. As we discussed, the Cubs, no one has the right on the Cubs to even be in the All-Star game.
Because they don't. They stunk.
Right.
But if it's completely a fan or a fan vote, I mean, are there people voting that actually do look at the big picture, or do they just instinctively see the player they like, push the button?
I think they should.
Go ahead.
They should. I think they should look at the big picture.
Well, there's a difference between what they should do and what they actually do.
Wait a minute. I have a question, though. What do you clarify as the big picture?
I think you have to look at every stat and take all of them into account. You can't just go, "Oh, this guy's hitting bombs." But
that's what the All-Star game is about. They want to see home runs. They want to see hits. They don't want to see someone.
The home run. They go to the home run derby. But if you want to see home runs.
So let me ask you a question. Would you rather see a shutout? A close game in the All-Star game, or you want to see home runs and high scoring?
Now
that's an interesting question.
Because here's the thing, if you go with home runs, so you're telling me you would rather a guy who's hitting, even though he has 15, 20 home runs, he's only batting .234.
I could give two shits about the average because the average doesn't get you to the playoffs.
Yeah, it kind of does.
No, it doesn't.
Yes, it does.
If you're getting hits, you're indirectly you're contributing to a team's win, but getting your hits depends on other people to drive you in.
But I'm saying is you could go on
average. You're getting
both ways.
Wait,
both ways.
Wait a
Both
minute.
are important then, based on what Nick F is saying.
Hold up. So in the World Series or in the playoffs, you're telling me you're going to look at, he's hitting 4 for 10, or you're going to look, and if those 4 hits are home runs and they help win the game, you're telling me that that's not okay?
I didn't say that.
No,
That's what you're kind of saying.
No, I'm not.
Oranges.
No, you're saying that because of the average sake.
There's a difference between the All-Star game and the playoffs.
But I think you would necessarily have the same theory if you're talking about both, right?
Why would I have the same theory?
So what's your theory then in the playoffs?
Nick, where are you going with this?
My point is that if you're doing that to determine one thing, and you're saying that it's the average, not the power, or...
I think you have to take everything into account.
I don't know. All-Star Game is about power and hits, and no one gives a crap about average.
Let's just move on. We'll agree to disagree.
Yeah. I think for the sake of keeping this under 3 hours, I think we should at least agree to disagree.
Okay.
Because my last word in on this, I feel like you have to take everything into account. You have to. All-Star Game is a year-to-year thing. It's a thing that you earn.
Okay.
I would say ultimately it doesn't matter to me because they both got in.
Right. You're listening to the Unspoken Podcast, part of the Undetermined Podcast Network. Let's move on to our last segment. We're going to play a game called Should It Be on TV? Basically, for those of you who weren't aware, we had the annual Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest on Tuesday when it was the 4th of July. Joey Chestnut won the men's competition with a record 72 hot dogs in 10 minutes.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
I don't even like hot dogs. Already I'm like, ugh.
Me too. I don't like hot dogs either.
You guys don't like hot dogs?
Nope.
I prefer cheeseburgers.
Same. I'm with you.
You are fake Americans, my friends.
Hey, a cheeseburger is an American icon.
Well,
Okay,
let me
is
wait. I got to throw one thing in. I kind of had allergies to certain hot dog stuff, so I couldn't really eat them.
See, that's an exception.
But I've had hot dogs. What are the other ones called? The kosher hot dogs or whatever.
Yeah.
But they're not so good.
See, I've never had a kosher hot dog, so I don't know what they taste like. They might just taste like crap.
It's the only thing I can eat.
I would like my meat products to not have any hog anus or any parts that are not specifically supposed to be consumed by humans.
That's hilarious.
So basically, I'm going to ask the question. I think I know where you two are going to answer with. What do you guys think about the hot dog eating contest?
Competitive eating?
Yeah.
Different. I don't mind it. I mean, tradition's tradition.
Really?
This is interesting.
Well, tradition is tradition. You are very right.
I mean,
well,
can you get any more American than competitive eating, though?
That's true. Let's see. So, are you yes or no, Nick?
I would say yes.
Well, here's the thing. Wait, let me interject before we get into it.
Yeah, go ahead.
There's the Nathan's Hot Dog Eating Contest, but that is tradition. There's also this thing of Major League Eating.
Yes.
There's like rules and stuff like that. Do you think do you consider those two separate things, even though the hot dog eating contest is a part of Major League Eating?
What I would say is I think they're two different things, because the Major League Eating could be anything. I've seen meatballs, I've seen grilled cheese sandwiches, I've seen some weird shit.
Spaghetti, fries, pretty much anything you can eat. People have tried to competitively eat a lot of it. However, that does not mean it should be on TV.
Right. Well, you might have a point there. But what I was going to say about the hot dogs is you see it in Major League Baseball stadiums as America's food. You see it. So I could see why they do it. Do I think it's fucking disgusting, the amount of hot dogs they eat? Yes. And the worst part is they eat the hot dog first, then they dip the bun in lemonade.
Right, well, there's techniques and stuff, supposedly.
But it's gross. It's fucking gross.
Yeah, but there's nothing about competitive eating that actually is appetizing.
Actually,
it doesn't look like they're enjoying the food. They're just they're just.
They train for that, right?
Yes, I know they do. One of the ESPN girls said that what they do is like the normal size of a stomach is like the size of a Nerf football, but these competitive eaters train to like expand it to 2 or 3 times greater.
Right. Yep. But You know who's a disgrace in my opinion, and he doesn't compete anymore because he got banned from the hot dog?
Kobayashi.
Kobayashi, yes. You know what he did to get banned?
What?
He signed over that contract of players, whatever.
No, that's not he vandalized the hot dog competition.
Oh, I did see. Oh, yeah, that's right. 2009 or 10.
He wouldn't sign a contract, so he showed up, trespassed, and caused vandalism on the contest.
I thought he just interfered and trespassed. I didn't know about the vandalizing.
Yeah, basically he destroyed shit during the contest.
Really?
And then he got banned. Actually, he went to jail, and then he got banned. So
now he like sets up his own thing or whatnot to like. I know he did this for a couple of years. He like set up his own stream or whatnot to compete, quote unquote, compete alongside them.
I don't know, but finally, so Nick, you say no to TV?
No to TV, yes to the tradition of competitive eating. Like, say, if you want to see somebody competitively eat, go in person to see them. Otherwise, you're just staring at a TV screen watching an asshole gorge himself.
So you can, and so is that for both Major League Eating and the hot dog eating contest itself?
Yes, they both should not be televised.
All right,
Nick M.
All right. This is tough. I think I kind of fall in line with Nick in the sense of, like, I like the hot dog eating contest. Like, I think one year I'd want to go to Coney Island and see it, but I don't think it should be on TV. Like, that's a gross amount of food to watch someone eat. So I'd say no to TV, but yes to the competition.
I mean, here's the thing. Like, we talk about we're gonna discuss this one later, but actually we could talk about that one next. But like, you guys ever watched the old show Cheap Seats on ESPN for the Sklar brothers?
I did.
Well, when they would talk about, they would show like and make fun of the when the ESPN aired the spelling bees and stuff, and they're like about why does ESPN air the spelling bee, and their answer is always, even though it's not sport, it is competition. So let's ask that basis question before we get into my answer. Do you guys think ESPN should air stuff that's not sports but are still pure competition?
Well, can I throw one more wrench into that argument?
Okay.
How about poker?
Well, that was also going to be another thing we're going to talk about.
So,
so I'll go with the hot dog eating contest. I mean,
it's a competition. I mean,
well, it is a competition. So I can understand ESPN's arguments to all this stuff about like, oh, it is competition.
But it's not sports.
Competitive
eating is not a sport. Sorry.
Yeah. I think that's the thing. I think like if you're going to consider competitive eating a sport, then you need to consider other things that I have on this list as sports. So is there a way we can make sure, I know sometimes they don't air on the normal ESPN, they do it on ESPN2, but sometimes they will air on normal ESPN. Can we make sure it's not on ESPN1? Can we make sure it stays on ESPN2 or move it to ESPN3?
You know what? I think we should just move it to ESPN the Ocho.
Yeah.
If that was an option, I would consider that. Let's put it on a mind. This is what I say. If you at least keep it on ESPN2, fine.
Let's just put it on ESPNU because it's the dying college channel, which no one cares about.
Yeah.
Right. This is what I say. I'm fine with it being on TV as long as it's not on the mainstream ESPN channel. Put it on one of the side channels.
I mean, just like they move First Take to ESPN from ESPN2 and no one cares about it?
Exactly.
Just saying.
I think that, that's what you're getting to.
Get into that.
They had to move all the programming over because right now they're airing Wimbledon from 7 to 4:30 every day.
Right.
So, all right, go on with your list.
But like I said, or if you want to move it to ESPN3, that's fine.
But I'm digressing. You go ahead.
Yeah. Okay, let's get into the spelling bee then. What do you guys think about the spelling bee?
You know what? I think it's just funny to air because you see the kids get these ridiculously long words like...
And they can spell it.
Like onomatopoeia.
Right.
Or some of these words that like the three of us could never say in our lives.
Right.
So, but you know what? The only thing that would make it better is like if they did like a not top 10 of spelling bee words that are ridiculous to spell.
What do you mean like a not top 10? Like the kids getting it wrong?
Yeah, that would be a little cruel, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
But there's no other reason to watch it. It's boring. I sat and watched it for 30 seconds and I fell asleep. There's no entertainment value in it.
Yeah, that is true. So it's like I know they do the qualifiers on ESPN. I mean, not the qualifier, but like the final round, the preliminary, the final round on ESPN. But they air the main thing on ABC. Can't it all just go to ABC?
Are you serious? Who gives a fuck? I mean, seriously, freaking spelling bee.
Also, I wouldn't want to be in those kids' shoes. You get what I mean? Like all that high pressure and stuff.
All the pressure and these. I mean, some of these students come from poor families, so and these kids are super geniuses, basically.
Right.
So you don't want to
the word wrong because then you get the infamous spell.
No, you know what?
Yeah,
I have one sound to describe the spelling bee. Okay.
Oh,
Making good use of the soundboard, I see.
I that's the thing. Like that's the thing. If you get a word wrong, that's what it feels like.
Yeah, and you hate to see these kids, their dreams get crushed in front of you. I mean, if you get off on that, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Some of these words, like, I don't know how to say this without being mean, but a lot of these foreign kids who probably study 20 out of 24 hours because they're not allowed to have fun, all they're allowed to do is study, they get these ridiculous words and they spell them with no issue whatsoever.
Well, that's training for you.
Right. I was going to say, I also agree that I don't want to sound mean, but to give Nick M some, backup as to that, I think the final 6 this year, they were all Indian.
They were.
Yeah, and I don't have a problem with that.
Me neither.
I honestly don't. They're kids. They're just trying to compete. No need to. No need for people to go screaming. Why are there so many brown people on my TV box?
Oh my god!
I don't. There's no need for that. I'm saying these are just kids, normal kids.
And because they are kids, in order to alleviate some of that pressure, because oh my god, I would be scared out of my mind if I were them. I say spelling bee shouldn't be on TV.
I agree.
I have to be the lone dissenting opinion because I actually do watch the spelling bee and I do enjoy it in direct defiance of my own nature. I mean, why?
Let me be fair.
I just do.
Let me be fair. I did, Nick, as we mentioned on previous podcasts, I did choose the spelling bee for a little while over the NBA Finals Game 1.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Well,
You did.
I was out for most.
Told me about it.
I was out for most of the day, so I didn't see most of the NBA Finals Game 1.
No. You know what? Sorry.
I'm sick of the Warriors and Cavs.
What?
I'm sick of the Warriors and Cavs.
It's not going to happen next year anyway. The Cavs are not coming back.
Good. They better not.
But still, I'm saying that I do find entertainment value out of watching the spelling bee on TV. Although I do believe it can be relentlessly cruel to these poor kids.
You know what I like? If we're gonna go with that direction, that I like how on ESPNU or ESPN2 they air the play along version where they don't give you the word and you actually have to figure it out yourself too.
That's just great.
Make me feel even dumber. As if I'm not a dumb white guy enough.
Right, but I mean, when you get that's true. It's going to be harder than Jeopardy, but still, when you get a question right on Jeopardy and you're playing along at home, you feel great inside.
Yeah, you feel invincible when you string a couple Jeopardy answers together. All it takes is, but on that same token, I mean, of sports that should not be on TV, I must say it. Why the fuck do they broadcast competitive bowling?
Hey!
It's a sport! It's more of a sport than competitive.
Hey! I bowled for 8 years and I competed competitively. You better watch your mouth.
Yeah,
why is it on TV?
I bowl too, my friend.
I watch them every Sunday. Every Sunday at 1:00.
So did I.
I just don't see bowling. I'd imagine. Well, granted, I could never play bowling because disabled. But honestly, I don't see it would be a lot more fun to me if I could watch somebody do it in person rather than just watching it on fucking TV.
But Nick, if you're gonna say the spelling bee deserves to be on TV, bowling's more of a sport. I would put bowling on TV then.
Can we get to the one that everyone wants to know about why it's on TV though?
Okay.
Go.
Poker.
Yeah, poker. I'd have to agree with you.
Poker had this weird takeoff in the mid 2000s.
Yeah, it did. It's like all of a sudden our interest in sports kind of stopped, and then all of a sudden we let these douchebags somehow become famous. I don't get it.
It's very weird. I mean, I enjoy poker and like casino games, and I like the idea of competitions involved, in them. I just don't know if they're for ESPN. Maybe there's like another channel or something. Because I know there was like Travel would do like a fucking poker thing. I know the Game Show Network did poker and blackjack stuff.
Oh, you're talking about Poker in America.
Poker in America. I'm talking about the World Series of Blackjack, Celebrity Blackjack, World Poker Tour. High stakes poker. I just feel like there's another channel. You get what I mean? Like it should be on TV, but not on ESPN.
I have a quick story actually.
Okay.
Because my brother, who played poker for a while, he played the online stuff before it basically became illegal here in New York.
I remember that. My dad did too.
Yeah.
I forgot what the different companies were. Full Tilt and
Full Tilt.
Poker Stars. And I don't know if do you watch the main event or no?
I try to. I try to just occasionally tune in to see what's going on.
Do you remember a guy named Havad Khan?
I don't remember him.
Okay, so he really good poker player in his right. It was probably back in 07, 08 at the main event. He made the final 9, the final table.
Right.
And my brother is friends with Havad.
Really?
And he's a big time pro, or was.
Wow.
He won like a Sunday Million tournament. But I said, this is wacko. Like he knew some of the pros, my brother. So
That's cool though.
it's fun. I wish I could. I was in Vegas. We were near the World Series of Poker, the Horseshoe, where it was held, but we never went. I was like, damn it. But
Yeah, but to me, poker is a lot more fun to play than it is to watch somebody else do.
have you played it?
Yeah, I have actually. I'm never any good at it, but I always enjoy playing it.
Like I said, I think it should be on TV, or maybe it's not on ESPN.
I mean, watching it. That's what I meant.
It is a little boring.
Right. But it sometimes can be exciting when it's like a close hand or whatnot, and then suddenly one card on the community cards turns the whole thing around.
The best part is when you have like 4 or 5 people in a hand. They all make a gigantic hand. You end up with a huge pot.
That too.
The first James Bond movie with Daniel Craig was probably the first time you were ever riveted. I was ever riveted watching somebody else play poker.
So I'll stick with the opinion of I think it should be on TV, but maybe not ESPN caliber. Maybe there's another channel. Maybe they can have a poker or casino game channel.
I mean, they have every other sports channel.
That is true.
Seriously, look, we have NBA TV, we have MLB Network, we have NHL Network, we have NFL Network. We have Tennis Channel. So let's make the poker channel or poker TV.
Or the casino.
Why don't you just bunch together a bunch of undertelevised sports under one umbrella?
Could do that too.
Could do that. Moving on. All right, guys. Let's get a little let's get some gender issue involved in this too. Let's have cheerleading.
Well,
Sport, not a sport.
I don't know if you heard about this a few weeks ago, but the anniversary for Title IX actually came out.
Was it the 10, 20, 30, 45?
I think it was like the 40th or 45th. I don't remember which. But
I think it's got to be 45.
What?
I think it was 45.
I'm looking it up right now. But yeah, that was a big thing.
Right. But what do you guys think? Cheerleading, sport, not a sport? Should be on TV, shouldn't?
Well, my cousin was a cheerleader when my brother was playing. Football in high school and in middle school. So I'm admittedly biased,
Don't be.
Because I mean, seeing as how much my cousin kind of hated it, and how, soul crushingly, it was for her at a lot of points, I would have to say, no.
This is a tough one.
No, not a sport, or no, it shouldn't be on TV.
No, it should not be on TV. Well,
I
mean, it's on TV anyway, because every time you see, when
a lot of it uses filler, though.
Yeah.
Right. But here's my question, just out of curiosity. Sport or not a sport?
It's not a sport. It's definitely not a sport. It's a competitive competition. There's plenty of things that are competition that are not sports. So, and I looked it up, by the way. It's the 45th anniversary of Title IX.
45.
So
here's what I'm going to say, once again, if you consider hot dog eating contest, Major League Eating a sport, I feel like you have to consider cheerleading a sport.
No, because in Major League Eating, any gender can compete.
Yeah, I mean, isn't the way cheerleaders are kind of treated and picked kind of misogynistic?
Wait a minute. I got into
a male gaze perspective.
I got to tell you a quick story. So when I was at LIU finishing my bachelor's, I got into an argument with my program director while we were doing sports about is cheerleading a sport, and should other sports be played by women? I didn't touch that second part because I knew better than that. But cheerleading is not a sport. It's really not, because I don't know. I mean, there's competition, but there's no league. There's no season. There's a point system, but that doesn't make it a sport necessarily. So I don't know. There's no actual real competition behind it.
There's a hell of a lot of training and coordination, though.
Oh no!
Right.
Let me clarify myself in the fact that we couldn't do it, and a lot of other people couldn't do it. I give props to the people who train to do cheerleading, because it is a hell of a lot hard. So
right, but where I was going with it was I don't know if I can call Major League Eating a sport, only because it's you're supposed to eat 3 times a day, and instead of eating 3 times a day, you just took that to a maximum. What the fuck? So I feel like if you consider that eating a sport, then you have to consider.
Wait a minute. I don't think we all
have more athleticism.
I don't think we all officially clarified. We just said whether it should be on TV or not. We never clarified.
Oh yeah. We didn't? Okay, let's go back to the Major League Eating. Sport or not a sport?
Not a sport. Definitely not a sport.
Not a sport. Okay, there we go. But I'm saying anybody out there who considers Major League Eating a sport better consider cheerleading a sport then.
Well, then they're not very smart then. At least in my opinion.
Well, especially when you think about, the way a lot of pro NFL teams treat their cheerleaders. That's
bad. That's a really extreme example, though.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, that's, I think, an example for the NFL, and another thing we have to separate.
Yeah.
I
guess.
We addressed professional wrestling already, and so let's not touch that. So let's go to the last one. Esports and gaming.
Definitely not. Definitely not a sport. Shouldn't be on TV. Biggest waste of time. Do I have to go any further?
I would have to agree with you there, Nick. I love playing video games. It's probably what I do, what I spend most of my time on, other than doing this. But it's just not fun watching other people play when you're not in the room.
It's a battle of the nerds.
No, I wouldn't use that term, but
I wouldn't either.
Because I am a nerd here. I am
too.
Let's be honest with ourselves here. But watching somebody. Well, and
yet it's one of the biggest, growing market.
Yeah, it's fun to watch somebody play a video game when you're in the room with them. But when you're not,
I'll agree with that.
I don't know why it's not fun to watch on TV. I don't know what's lost in translation. I really don't.
Well, first of all, I think it airs on TBS, right?
I don't know. I know, like, where I was thinking more of the fighting games, like Street Fighter and stuff like that.
That's what they were doing. It's competition games like fighter games.
Yes, I know there's Evo. That's the big competition. That's actually coming up very, very soon.
But that's where it's normal to do it, though.
Right.
Not on TV where it's. And the weird part is, I think they do it on a Saturday night on television.
I don't know about that, but I remember last year. ESPN2, I think, aired the finals. It was only on for like an hour. It was like the finals of the Street Fighter tournament, which is the biggest fighting game, you know, out of all that are presented. But everything else was exclusive, I believe, on Twitch in like a few separate channels.
Right. I've heard that. I'm trying to look it up now, actually.
I mean, I think it's a growing, you know, sports market. I feel like it's unbelievable. I know the NBA is actually going to have an E-League soon.
They do. That's what I see. And it says that Injustice 2 Esports Championship is going to be on TBS in fall of 2017.
I didn't hear about that. Okay, I did not hear about
just
that.
found that.
All I knew was Evo. And I'm like, I like the prospect of fighting games. As much as it is a sport, I mean, there's sports-related things like hand-eye coordination and stuff like that. But I think it's more of the, I don't know if it's a sport, but once again, I'm under the argument of if you're going to consider eating a sport, man, I'm taking a shitting on Major League Eating.
That was good.
Because shitting is kind of the end result of a lot of eating. I'm sorry, I had to do it.
Very good, Nick. Very good. But again, I feel like if you consider Major League Eating a sport out there, I'm sorry, then you better consider cheerleading and gaming a sport because there's a lot more sportiness than that. Than shoving food down your feet. You
know what? If we're gonna consider Major League Eating a sport, I've already in my own head created a new sport. Okay.
What?
I'm gonna call it Major League Blinking. Okay. And since we're gonna create stupid sports where we think we need to watch them on TV, just like we watched arm wrestling on TV on ESPN.
Oh my God.
Instead of putting the arms across the table, we're now going to stare at each other, and you're going to have a referee stand between the two until someone blinks.
Can we have Major League Thumb Wrestling too?
Yeah, sure. Why'd you throw that in there too?
Or Major League Knife Game from Aliens?
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
What, you guys haven't seen Aliens?
We're going to throw knives at each other now? Jesus Christ.
Holy crap.
Major League Knife Throwing.
All right, what else you got on that list? Because I think we're getting really digressing here.
Yeah, that was it. That's it. I think we're done for this episode.
Well, wait a minute. I have one more piece of serious breaking news. I don't know if you saw this. It just came in. Did you see the story on Bobby Knight?
No. What happened to Bobby Knight?
So it just broke about 20 minutes ago, actually. Bobby Knight is being investigated. Oh, the FBI is investigating Hall of Famer coach Bobby Knight for allegedly groping 4 women in 2015.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
That's according to the Washington Post.
Doesn't surprise me.
That's such a sour note to end on now.
Sorry, I was going to say it earlier, but I didn't want to interrupt.
No, it's okay. It saves us the trouble of having to get to it next week, but we'll see how it develops when we get to it on the next episode.
Yeah.
This has been wacko, crazy.
This was our longest episode to date, by the way, with all the arguing and talking and everything. So let's end on a happy note. I'll just play this clip one more time. Actually, no, wait. Great Falls of Fire.
But basically, just to recap, we went through NBA free agency. We covered Major League Baseball's All-Star Game. We covered non-important sports that shouldn't be on ESPN or any other network. I think it was a pretty good gamut today.
Yeah, we talked a lot today.
I should come on more often.
You should.
And that's going to do it for us for the Unspoken Podcast. Go like the Facebook and Twitter pages at the UDUP. Go like Cheap Seats Sports at CS Sports Site on both Facebook and Twitter. Go like The Undetermined at the UD Network. And Man, I just ran through social media. And goodness gracious, Great Balls of Fire.
Really? Now you're just going to say that forever now, aren't you?
Yeah. That's going to be his sign-off. I should do that.
Yeah, which show was that?
That's this Sunday. This Sunday is Great Balls of Fire.
No. Which is the one where the competitors jump all over everything and they get knocked off?
What?
Where they get punched off, like they run across a beam and a boxing glove like punches them off.
Are you thinking Wipeout?
Wipeout. That they always say it at the end, like "Good night" and "Big balls." No, because you know the big balls at the end.
Right. I get it.
So now I guess you're gonna have to. I guess you're gonna. What?
Wipeout has nothing on MXC though.
No, but I was just gonna say. Now you can just say "Good night" and "Great Balls of Fire."
Nick will agree with me on this. Nick F will. Wipeout has nothing on MXC.
I agree. Totally, 100%.
Wow.
So that's going to do it for this edition on the Unspoken Podcast. I'm Tom O'Bannon along with Nick Federa and Nick Morganson. Once again, we'll see you next week for episode 27. Good night and Great Balls of Fire.
Woo!
Good night, everybody.